Okay, so now it's about 24 hours since the ordeal, since the knockdown, and let's do a little summation of what's happened to Wave Rover. Another thing that happened, and I'm not exactly sure how it happened, but my right lower rib is bruised, and everything is difficult as a result. Hauling a halyard is now hard. Just getting out of the bunk is hard. Sleeping is hard. And even taking a deep breath is a little bit painful. I'm still able to do everything, but it's just an added hassle. Another thing I've noticed is we have more water coming into the bilge than usual. So I think perhaps the lower gudgeon that's holding the rudder, that's the bracket that the pintle on the rudder slides into. I think maybe that has been shifted and a little bit of water is coming through there. It's most likely not a big deal. All I need to do is get the boat up in the hard and take it out and recock it. But I can't do it, at sea. Of course, the mattress, the one I'm on isn't bad. This one was actually over on the windward side. The leeward side mattress is up forward, and I'm trying to dry it out. But along with all the wet clothes, it's almost impossible to dry everything out because we still have a lot of spray and waves breaking over into the cockpit. So there's nowhere to really lay stuff out. So now I need to make a decision. Do I make a port stop in Martinique, which is really on the way, and it's about 500 miles west of where I am right now, or do I carry on and go to Panama, which is 1,800 nautical miles from now? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to sleep on that. So as far as navigation goes, I've been using this nice little Samsung tablet with Navionics charts loaded onto it. And I just bought this during my stay back in Prince Edward Island, which you saw just a few videos ago. And it's really nice, and it's quite fast processor, and I've been really impressed with it. But the night of the knockdown, it went from this holder right here and flew across the cabin and hit that side of the cabin, and it just won't work anymore. So that had all the charts loaded onto it, right through actually to the South Pacific. But I also have this older Samsung tablet, and on it I have, just just bring it up here. On it, I have the basic charts, just a few points between the Canaries where I left and Panama where I was planning to go. And in there I also have 5 of the Caribbean islands highlighted so that I have charts to them. The reason I did that was just in case of a failure with my primary tablet, I still had a backup. And I've been really cautious with this because I can't afford to have this go down. I have made a pencil sketch of the harbor that we're going to, and I also have the latitude and longitude of a few waypoints to get me safely there and keep me out of danger. So that's the only backup I have. But having a second tablet with charts loaded onto it is a very inexpensive redundancy that I think pretty much everybody should indulge in, because I think that this tablet was less than $200 Canadian on sale. No, sorry, regular price, because it's an older version, but it has plenty of capacity for what I need with just Navionics, which is all I use these tablets for. I don't load them with anything else. I don't use them for anything else. I have a laptop that I use for communication and Facebook or anything along those lines. But these are meant solely just for navigation. Originally, our plan had us going in between the islands of St. Lucia to the south and Martinique to the north. So we're going to stop at Martinique. On the southwest coast, there's a port called the Port de Marin, and we'll stop there if they have room. And we'll make our repairs. And I would like to see a doctor about my ribs, which aren't getting any better. They're still really painful. I've been wrestling them. I have a tension bandage on to help support them. I do recall from my first aid that there's really not a whole lot you can do about a cracked, broken, or bruised rib. It's just time will fix it. Just try to keep it immobilized and don't put any stress on it, which I'm doing. I'm not taking any pain medication because I'm getting close to the islands now. We're having the odd contact, and I just want to be at my best. I want to be fully awake. So we're about a little under 400 miles west-northwest of the island of Martinique right now. The Mark III has been knocked quite a bit out of alignment, and it's designed to be perfectly in line with the center line of the boat. That's how it works. Otherwise, the control lines won't have the right tension going out as they swing across the arc with the rudder. So that's a concern. I've been able to make modifications to how I rig the control lines to compensate, but it's no substitute for having everything in line. So the weather has really calmed down quite a bit since the knockdown occurred over the last 3 days, and right now, instead of the 5 to 6 meter waves that we were seeing, we're probably looking at 1 to 2 meters, well, 2 meters anyway. And with that, the wind has died right back. In fact, yesterday, toward the evening, we had a period, probably about an hour and a half, with no wind whatsoever. And I don't know the reason for it, but we've had very light wind, and the wind is backed quite a bit. Back means it's going counterclockwise. So we're getting a more easterly, northeasterly wind right now, and it's quite light. Probably somewhere in the order of 5 to 10 knots right now. But I want to take you on deck to show you the sargasso weed that we see floating in the water, and it just in the last couple of days, it's really It's quite amazing. It's everywhere. So let's head up on deck and take a look at that. So this is a weed that just floats in the water, and there's all kinds of life that are clinging onto it. Well, it's a rare privilege to be able to sit out here and see a sunset without getting hit by spray. Today the air temperature was 28 degrees, so in Fahrenheit I'm not exactly sure. It's over 80 anyway. So fairly warm. We probably have right now maybe 10 knots of breeze. We're heading west. We're heading toward Caribbean island of Martinique. Well, during the night, the wind is back to a more north by northeast direction, so I feel it's time we need to do a tack. It's just a little after sunrise, and we do have some squalls on the horizon. I'll show you those right away. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is shift the position of the Mark III. And that'll start putting us on the opposite tack. It's just that easy. Okay, we're steadying up on the west. We were heading southwest. Southwest by south, almost. Great. So the sunrise is just over there, and you can see all the dark clouds all along over the south and the west. And then on the north, it actually looks very nice. So I'll just tighten this up. Nice to have these out of the way. They can become a tripping hazard. Well, we'll wait till all these squalls go through, and if the wind is still this light, then I'll let the reef out of the jib. We're still doing about 3.5 to 4 knots right now. And it's probably a good time to mention, and it'll probably be the last time I'll mention this, that Wave Rover now has a Patreon page. And Patreon is a way that you, the viewer, can support the production of these videos. If you're interested, you can find a link to Wave Rover's Patreon page in the video description below. Also, you might see a stylized letter P, that's P for Papa, above my left shoulder. You can click on that, and that'll also take you to Wave Rover's Patreon page. So this is Wave Rover wishing you fair winds, and have a wonderful week.